All I'm saying is that when there's harsh Uranus aspects in the cosmos, expect the unexpected. My name is Comet, and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrology forecast for the week of June 26th to July 2nd, 2023, where we are covering, just as we do every single week here in my Cosmic Corner, the unique blessings, opportunities, and challenges awaiting you within your upcoming week, told to us by what the planets are doing. And furthermore, we really focus upon how you are going to co-create with what the planets are doing, how you are going to seize those blessings, how you're going to take advantage of those opportunities, and how you are going to navigate the challenges embedded within your horoscope. And navigate those challenges you must within this week's astrology, because this is a sort of week where it's going to be very tempting to allow your impulses to get the better of you. This is a week in which you can expect your temper to flare up. This is a week in which you can be feeling really restless and just wanting to impulsively do something to just break out of your life. This can be a very explosive, impulsive week of astrology where we are feeling frustrated and we want other people to know about it. Our frustration can be very misdirected. This gas station attendant wasn't the customer who ratted me out to my boss, but they're the first person I come into contact with, so they are going to have to deal with my wrath. Or, this person who cut me off on the road, I don't know anything about them, but I'm already having a bad day, so I'm going to honk at them and be super annoying. Like, this is the sort of week where if we allow our impulses, where it is that we just want to lash out, where it is that we want to strike back, where it is that we want people to hear how frustrated we are, we can lose out on a lot of the opportunities of this week. Because let me tell you where the opportunities lie. The opportunities lie when you are able to be shrewd and strategic. Okay, there will be a temptation this week where something's going to bother you, okay? And there's going to be every temptation to just want to scream and yell and react and text back really quickly or cut somebody off, whatever the action is, whatever the words are, there will be a temptation to react impulsively. Yet, there's all of this energy baking within this week's astrology of these harmonious Saturn trines, where it's like you can feel where it is that this situation has you messed up. But take a deep breath, okay? Plot your steps forward. Maybe that customer ratted you out to your boss, and rather than, running to your boss's desk and be like, what did they do? Or trying to find them and lash out at them, rather than taking it out on the poor gas station attendant or the person on the road, this is an important week to breathe, feel the frustration, feel the anger, maybe put it into a workout or something of that nature, but plot, plan, gather your receipts, allow your actions to proceed forward in a logical way. We never see the world clearly when we are angry, okay? And it's going to be really hard this week to bite your tongue, to take a deep breath, to hold on taking action. But I'm telling you, that is where success lies. If you can take a deep breath, gather receipts, gather proof, whatever it is that you're moving through will, of course, paint the picture of this astrology as a whole. But it's important this week not to allow your impulses, your temper, your desire to lash out, strike back right away to get the better of you. You need to take that step back and see what is the most shrewd, strategic pathway forward for me to win the big picture, right? Because it might feel good to a certain extent when you snap at the gas station attendant, or when you run into your boss's office and demand an explanation, or when you find the customer and write them something mean on social media. It'll feel good for just a second, because at least you're allowing that anger to express itself. But again, when you react in that very knee-jerk manner, perhaps you feel like you won the battle, but you lost the war, like you lost the big picture, right? There is a more shrewd way of proceeding, but it's really important that you do not allow your emotions to get the better of you, that you do not allow your anger to get the better of you, and you do not allow your restlessness to get the better of you, okay? Because when you're in that very agitated state, you're not seeing things clearly. So it's really important this week. Take a deep breath, take a step back, view the big picture, gather receipts. Maybe you have the receipts on that situation with the customer and the boss that proves that you were in the right. but no one's going to believe that you are in the right if you run into your boss's office screaming and yelling and finding that person on social media. Take a deep breath, gather your receipts together, gather your proof, and take your steps forward in order to win the big picture situation, to move forward in a very calm, a very strategic, and a very mindful way. Okay, that will be the unique ask of this week's astrology. Before we dive into our thematic as well as day-by-day breakdown to really get you attuned to the energy we are walking into, how this will come to the surface within your universe, I just have a couple of announcements. The first being, it almost is the beginning of July. Beginning of the month is a great time to jump into Magic Monthly. I make you astrology resources, printable calendars, as well as a digital astrology planner that helps you get attuned to the big picture month-to-month astrology. Also, if you didn't get it last week, you can get a free chapter of my book, The Cure and Keeping of Your Birth Chart and of Your Soul, within the link below. You can either go to Self-Care Astrology and there should be a pop-up. You put in your sign and it'll get sent to you right away. Or there's another link below that goes directly to the landing page if you have like a pop-up blocker or something on your computer. And there are a couple opportunities on selfcareastrology.com this summertime if you are craving deeper astrology education, if you're craving mentorship, working one-on-one over a longer term basis. I deeply recommend checking out the offerings that I have available there. There is a 4-week moon course called The Luminary of Self-Care and an 8-week full astrology course called Self-Care Astrology. Both you can just proceed at your own pace in a self-study capacity, or you can add on voice memo support from me or consultation support from me as well. So totally up to you. Make sure to check that out. We are enrolling all summer. All of that will be available within the description, as well as timestamps should you want to advance to a particular day, reminisce on a past day. I also want to let you know on YouTube there's a playback speed button where you can experiment with speeding me up, slowing me down to attune to whichever pace in which you process information. You can check it out by clicking the gear button. And also, since I'm just making all my announcements up top, I want to let you know I'm on the west coast of the United States. So when I mention times, I do so in Pacific Daylight Time, PDT. So please adjust to your time zone before making a mental note or putting into your planner. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into a segment that I like to call Cosmic Coffee of the Week. Or should it be Cosmic Caffeine of the Week? Because I'm not always drinking coffee. Let me know. You guys know if you watch Magic Monday, I do love a segment. So I want to name our weekly drink check-in. So today I'm drinking an iced latte with some honey, some cinnamon, and then some almond milk. It is quite delightful. My ice is melting because it's finally hot here in San Diego. Thank goodness. Was not feeling like summer at all. I'm wondering if I'll ever be happy or satisfied, because I was complaining for weeks. I'm like, sun, come out, I miss you. This doesn't feel like June at all. And now it's out and I'm like, I'm hot. It's so hot. I'm like, girl, can you just be happy, please? But let me know what you are sipping on to start your week, what the weather is like wherever it is that you are located within the world. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into our next segment, Vibe Check of the Week. So this is a busy week of astrology. I've not even scratched the surface with all of the aspects, ingresses, and stations that we are experiencing within this week's astrology. So to essentially be able to paint a big picture thematic vibe of the energies we'll be walking through this week, we take it into a segment called Vibe Check the Week. Yes, another segment. I do really like my segments. Is this too many segments? I don't know. But in this segment, we essentially take all of those energies from Mercury entering Cancer, Neptune stationing retrograde, Venus trine Chiron, Sun trine Saturn, Mercury trine Saturn, the harsh Uranus aspects that I was telling you about. We take all of that and we essentially put it into a blender. We make a little astrology smoothie, we mix it all together, and then we compare what all of the energy feels like mixed up all together to a real life scenario, so that you can tune into how this energy will come to the surface within your world and how you are going to navigate this week's astrology. So this week's astrology smoothie or Vibe Check the Week feels like the following scenario. So let's say you lived in a residence with 3 or 4 other people. We'll say it was just when you had graduated high school, or maybe you were in college or just graduated college. Basically, some young people getting on their feet, and alas, the chapter is closing. You all are essentially flying the coop. Some of you are moving to different cities for jobs. Some of you are moving in with partners. You're building your new lives, and it is bittersweet because there's excitement around what it is that you are building, the dreams that you are chasing and creating and anchoring, the new chapter that you are starting. But there's also grieving around the chapter that you are closing altogether. And so in that process of moving, you know how exhausting that can be. Of course, there's the physical labor of having to move all the boxes. There can sometimes even be the emotional labor of going through photos and mementos and keepsakes, contemplating what do I keep, what stays. You know, that's very Cancer season. We can be very nostalgic around this time. Then there's the mental labor around all of the things that you need to do. You're like, okay, got to make sure we clean this, got to make sure we repair this. Oh, we painted this wall, so got to paint this back. And alas, you muscle through, you get it done, you clean, you repair, and finally you have that moment where you just close the door to this, bedroom that has encased you for the last 2 years. You lock the door for the final time on this house that has witnessed so many of you grow in this really formative time of your lives. You just have that moment of being like, oh, like for some reason I'm just seeing the Hannah Montana scene where she has like her face in the window and like her hand to the glass and she's like, oh, bye. Like you're having that moment, right? You're like, okay, I'm off to my new adventure. Goodbye, goodbye house. But alas, you're not off to your new adventure, because a couple days later you get an email and you check it at like 11 p.m. and it's your landlord. Interesting. Saying that you will not be getting your security deposit because of all of the damages to the house. And you're looking over at the list that they sent over and you're like, this isn't right. Like, you did break some stuff, but you fixed the stuff you broke. Okay, you painted the stuff back. And the things that they're mentioning, you're like, that's not the case. Like, they're saying the ceiling fan is broken. You're like, the ceiling was on when I was packing up my clothes. They say that the blinds were broken. You're like, that's not possible. I never even used the blinds in that room. They're saying all of these damages took place and you're contemplating and you're like, that was not the case. I saw it. It was sparkling clean. We took such good care of that house. And you are heated about this because you had already had issues with your landlord. They had already been pretty non-responsive in the 2 years that you guys had lived there. They had charged you all an obscene amount for rent, and it just feels ridiculous that they're claiming that they're not going to give you your security deposit back due to damages that you're contemplating. And you're like, that there's no way I broke the ceiling fan. I remember the air on me as I was packing up my shirts. There is no way. So you start emailing back, all caps. How dare you? You are a piece of crap. You're greedy, blah, blah, blah. You go off. And before you hit send, you have a moment, you're like, wait, like I'm so mad right now. I so want to send this. This is so not right. But you know that sometimes when you have decisions that you make or communications that you make in the heat of the moment, you know sometimes there can be backlash. Sometimes it can do more harm than good, even if you were in the right all along. So you think about it, you take a deep breath, you're like, I so need this security deposit in order to build my new life that I am creating. So I need to play this smart. I need to be strategic. So you sleep on it, okay? That's such an important piece of advice, truly. For anything that angers you, sleep on it. Things look so different when you're no longer seeing red, okay? And you start to plan and strategize. How are we going to win this? Because I think this is phony. I'm calling this bluff. And I think I could dig up some receipts in order to prove my case. So away you go and you dig up everything and anything that can prove that these damages are not the case. And you remember that while you were packing up, in that moment of being nostalgic about the chapter that you were closing, you were like, oh, last selfie in this bedroom. And you like took a little selfie and you find that selfie and sure enough, The ceiling fan is in the background and it is on. So you gather it all together. You prove this, you get receipts here of things that you guys had fixed. You get pictures here from like various events or various pictures that you guys had taken showing like these blinds were closed. We never even touched these blinds. Like you gather your receipts, okay? And then you pen a very well-written letter essentially detailing why their claims are bogus, but you say in a respectful way. You have all of your receipts. You are literally like, see Exhibit A. See Exhibit B, see Exhibit C. Like you have your receipts, your facts, your figures all together. And let me tell you, they changed their tune very quickly. So of course, not all of us will be moving this week. Not all of us will be waging a battle with our landlords this week. We will detail some other ways that this energy can manifest. But what I will say is that there will be something unexpected, and it feels like something that will make you angry. We have Mars square Uranus at the beginning of the week, which is that email coming in that you just are seeing red. You are so mad. You're like, how dare you? But again, not recommending screaming, not recommending yelling, doing anything impulsive, but definitely you can expect your temper to flare up. You can expect to feel more mad, and you can definitely expect to be more impulsive, wanting to strike back to seek revenge. Do you know who I am? And there may be something unexpected occurring this week because we have Venus, the planet of love, beauty, money, also squaring Uranus. And the interesting thing about Venus's journey currently is that, as we talked about last week, which last week's Magic Monday will be linked above as well as in the description, but as we talked about last week, Venus is now in pre-retrograde shadow territory, which means for you that essentially what your upcoming Venus retrograde story will be is being hinted at right now. Okay, so you need to pay attention to what comes up financially, what comes up aesthetically, and what comes up romantically, because you are getting hints and clues around what will be a dominant theme during your Venus retrograde. Because if a scenario like this happens, you may get a clue around, okay, this Venus retrograde may be about reviewing this ongoing dispute, financial dispute with my landlord and getting this rectified. Or if you have a random blow-up fight with a partner, that might be something that you review during your Venus retrograde. If you impulsively decide to cut your bangs, that can be a theme that you are dealing with during this Venus retrograde. So there feels to be something unexpected coming in with the Venus square, and I just want you to know there is more than meets the eye to this story because Venus will repeat this aspect 2 more times. Okay, so I do want you to be mindful around what unexpected surprise comes in. And the examples I gave weren't quite great, but I will highlight, Uranus is not bad nor good. It's just things that are unexpected. Okay, so Venus square Uranus can be a random medical bill, or it can be winning the lottery. Venus square Uranus can be craving more space from your partner or meeting somebody very exciting that you go on a random spontaneous adventure with. Venus square Uranus can be impulsively cutting your bangs at 2 a.m. because you're kind of going through it, or it can be dyeing your hair purple and loving it. Uranus is not a benefic or a malefic, it's just things that are unexpected, things that catch you by surprise, okay? And because I'm a Virgo moon and rising, that feels like a malefic to me because I'm not crazy on surprises, but there's a surprise coming this week that the story will continue. So if you meet someone unexpected, if you have a new fashion inspiration, if something happens with finances, that can be important. That can be a story that will continue to be told during the forthcoming Venus retrograde, which P.S. it was so much footage to go through for some reason. I cannot stop talking, honestly, but I did finish the Venus retrograde video, so you can check that out to see what your sign is working through, and that can also clue in what's kind of forming within your chart. But essentially, we have something that's invigorating our anger, and we have something unexpected around love, beauty, and money, okay? But midweek, there's all this energy around teamwork, shrewdness, and strategy if we're able to temper our emotions. Because Mercury, the planet of language, enters Cancer. So absolutely, our language can be more emotionally charged. And here's what a lot of people don't understand about Cancer energy is like, yes, they're nurturing, they're sweet, but the thing about Cancer is that at the end of the day, Cancer is a cardinal sign. Like cardinal signs are what start seasons. Cardinal signs start things. They act on things. And with Cancer being a cardinal water sign, Cancer acts on their emotions, water. So with Mercury entering this cardinal water sign, we're more inclined to speak out when we are incensed, on any sort of emotion, agitated on any sort of level, sadness, wanting to speak about it, anger with Mars squaring Uranus, wanting to speak about it, there can be a tendency to be a little bit more knee-jerk as it relates to our communication. Absolutely, with Mercury and Cancer, we could be more nostalgic and nurturing with our language, contemplating more about the past, all that sweet energy. But I will say, there is a temptation where if something comes in, we want to say, like, this is so upsetting to me, that we want to let people know, how dare you treat me like this? This is how I feel right now. Like, we're more likely to want to communicate about our emotions and do so in a more knee-jerk fashion. And that's important to temper this week, okay? If you can take a beat, I'm telling you, before you hit send, before you cut somebody off because they cut you off, before you can lash out at your partner, take a deep breath, plot, and strategize. Gather your receipts, because Cancer and Mercury will both trine Saturn. That's the energy around gathering the selfie. I just threw in the selfie part just because Venus and Mars are in Leo. But you know, you gathered the selfie that happens to prove that the ceiling fan was on in the background as you were moving out, and you find all of these photos. And again, you have to go deep, right? And you have to organize that information. You could have, you know, angry texted it in all caps, like, and the ceiling fan was on. But again, sometimes when you're in that very agitated or emotional state, it's easy for people to write you off as being crazy, okay? And you're not crazy. This is a real situation. Like, I think Neptune retrograde is sort of this energy around lifting a ruse or something around seeing things clearly. And again, it's easy for people to write you off as being, oh, crazy, or they were just like emotional, or they sent me this all caps message, right? Your points might have been valid, but they were told in a way that makes it easy for people to basically like brush you off. Like, sometimes you really have to take that beat. Like, you know, you're not crazy. You know, you have a point, but you need to be able to gather your arguments, your points, your receipts in a way that will ensure that there's no denying it. There's no refuting it, because particularly, obviously, I'm speaking from my vantage point as a woman, and it's just so easy to tell, like, you're being emotional, are you on your period, like you're losing it, you're lashing out, what have you. And it's so infuriating, and something that we always have to be cognizant of. And I'm not saying you need to tiptoe around other people's perceptions of you. I'm just saying, if you're trying to win something, sometimes you have to play their game, and sometimes you have to take that moment to be like, okay, how can I make my arguments, which are sound, as logical and as realistic as possible to ensure that I win? How can I temper my emotions? Yes, I'm mad as hell at my landlord and that they're trying to take advantage of me, but how can I communicate these points as calmly, as realistically, and pragmatically, so that there's no room for error? There's no room for them gaslighting me, saying, oh, you're being so emotional, oh, they're crazy, just in case the case escalates and those emails come up. I'm not putting it out there, but those emails come up in court or something of that nature. Like, again, we don't take the right actions when we're in the heat of the moment, when we are seeing red. There's this energy where there will be a temptation to want to react right away. And again, not all of us will be feeling this financially. Certainly not all of us will be feeling this while moving out. I just made it moving out because, you know, Cancer season is all about the home, so it felt appropriate. But again, there's this energy this week where things are going to leave you a little mad, a little agitated. People are going to have you a little messed up. And it's really important that you take that moment, take a breath. You can feel the emotions that it's bringing to the surface. You can feel that anger, but don't allow it to get the better of you. Don't allow it to drive your actions forward. Take a deep breath. Plot the next steps. It might feel like you won when you send that sassy text or when you cut that person off. In a very small victory, it can feel like you've won, but there's a bigger picture happening here, okay? And sometimes you have to lose the quarter, right, in order to win the whole game, okay? So be strategic. Don't burn out all your energy in the first quarter trying to take revenge and lash out. Like, again, sometimes you need to let people think that they've won while you're gathering receipts, gathering intel, and then just deliver it as the timing's right, as cool and calm and collected as you can be. So we will detail this more so in our day-by-day analysis. So welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, June 26th. So I want to let you know that here on Magic Monday, we infuse every Monday with a little magic. But what I also want to tell you is that that some Mondays need a little bit more magic than others. And Monday, June 26th is sort of one of those days, and here is why. So first things first, the moon is in Libra all day, and we are currently experiencing a first quarter moon. And first quarter moon is the crisis of action moon phase. And the thing about the moon during Cancer season is that the sun is answering to the moon. So whatever the moon is going through is of utmost importance to us, which is why during Cancer season, we feel everything more intensely. High, low, lows. We are picking up on our stuff, other people's stuff. We're very plugged into the energetic and the emotional undercurrents of what is transpiring around us. And there is this tension, okay, on Monday. And for some of you, it feels to be playing out around you. You've been feeling a certain sort of way, but you've been trying to negate that in this effort to keep the peace. And there's sort of an energy on Monday, if that's the story, around no more. Now, as we've been discussing deeply within the vibe check, I am not recommending that you lash out or that you allow your temper to get the better of you. That is to be avoided. But there is this energy, if you felt disrespected, you've been trying to suppress how it is that you feel in this effort to keep the peace, you may feel randomly inspired to want to advocate or stick up for yourself in some way. Do watch the temper, do watch the reaction. The reason I'm saying this is because this is the day, very early in the morning, so you could feel this on Sunday as well as on Monday. There is this desire to want to lash out. Mars square Uranus. Mars is our anger. It is our actions. This is the energy where we want to cut people off. This is the energy where we want people to hear about why we are so frustrated. This is the energy in which we can feel randomly, impulsively inspired to stand our ground, to stick up for ourselves. It's like, okay, I tried to keep the peace, I tried to be harmonious, but no more. They've got me messed up. Do they know who I am? Because Mars is in Leo. Do they know who they're dealing with? Okay. And the thing is that absolutely, like, they need to know who they're dealing with, okay? And you will win. Sometimes we need to let people win the quarter for us to win the game. And if you're confused why I'm doing a sports analogy, I'm just as confused as you are. But again, sometimes we take an L in the quarter so we can win the game. Sometimes we need that moment to catch our breath, gather the receipts, gather the intel, gather whatever is needed in a sports game in order to win the big picture, okay? And you might have this tendency, like, it's just Monday and Mars square Uranus is wanting to put your all into that first quarter and be aggressive and be super competitive and lashing out in accordance to your emotions or in accordance to your temper or your anger. But again, what I want to recommend on Monday is take a deep breath, strategize before you lash out. It'll be hard because honestly, for some of you with Mars square Uranus, you could be feeling this around people trying to tell you what to do, and you're like, I do my own thing. I don't need you. Mars is in Leo. I'm the leader of my own life. How dare you tell me what to do? How dare you tell me what I can and cannot do? It's very rebellious is the energy, wanting to do things just because somebody said that you can't or said that you couldn't. It's like an energy around they need to know who they're dealing with. I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do. That's not necessarily such a bad thing, but you just want to be cautious with Uranus energy because it could be very impulsive. Like, again, maybe your boss told you to do something and this Mars square Uranus energy just makes you want to just be like, forget it, I'm going to the beach. Forget this job. I'm doing my own thing. How dare they try to tell me what to do? Long term, is that the most sound decision? Maybe not. Maybe you have to take that L by sitting in the office and working that particular day while gathering receipts that prove that this is not in your job description and you should not have to do this. Try not to allow your temper to get the better of you on Monday or your desire for restlessness or do your own thing to get the better of you. Again, you can rebel, but rebel in ways that will not impact your long term, okay? And when it comes to your anger, pour it into something, okay? Anger is an emotion that does deserve to be felt, but it's so important that it is not misdirected, okay? That's really important because to a certain extent, we're all going through it on some level. Obviously, there's varying spectrums of what it is that we are coping with, but just being conscious around trying to make random people on the road or your gas station attendant or your coworker, trying to make them the enemy. Because sometimes when our anger flares, it's like whoever is in our path, they're who we want to unleash on, and they don't deserve that. It's not very nice. They didn't necessarily contribute to the big picture. And a lot of times, these are people just trying to do their jobs, okay? Or just trying to get home on the highway Just being mindful around where you're directing temper. Like working out is great, honestly. Doing something rebellious in your own way, okay? Doing something rebellious that won't cause you to like lose your job or something. And maybe there is something frustrating you when it relates to, love or relationships, because the moon will be in Libra. And again, we have that first quarter moon. So there might be this boiling point when it relates to your relationship and just wanting to lash out like, babe, you always freaking leave the toilet seat up. And again, be mindful with your language, be mindful with your impulses. Please don't be cruel. I don't think any of you would be. And the gift of Mars square Uranus that I want you to tap into, if it's available to you, is perhaps advocating for yourself in new ways. But again, respectful, not knee-jerk. Let's say you're feeling this simmering tension in relation to your connection, okay? The moon's in Libra and Mars square Uranus. We can just be feeling a little bit more triggered, a little bit more angry, a little bit more easily incensed, right? And you know that feeling when you just kind of have like a bad day at work and then your partner does that thing that they always do and that's just like the final straw and you're just like so angry. Again, don't be cruel, don't yell, don't be disrespectful like that. The cosmos are not telling you to do that, but perhaps there's an opportunity around, okay, I've tried to keep the peace, but this is not okay. You need to put the toilet seat down. Like it's really not that hard. I'm not going to deal with this any longer. You need to handle this. It's like almost this energy around standing your ground in a way that does feel empowering and maybe is outside of the usual. Like maybe you're just somebody where like, oh, they left the toilet seat open again and you just close it and you're like, whatever. But this is a time where it's like, okay, enough is enough. Okay, you need to handle this. Like anger doesn't always need to be screaming and cruel and breaking things. Like perhaps there's just a new opportunity for you to be able to advocate for yourself to play with, or a new opportunity for you to like anchor in your sovereignty. Again, I feel for some people, it'll be this energy around, you can't control me. You can't tell me what to do, right? So maybe where you're advocating for yourself is your partner trying to say, you can't go here, you can't wear that. And it's just this energy around, I'm my own person. Again, we'll feel the mostly relationship energy of the harsh Uranus square building during the weekend, because that's when Venus squares Uranus. But I did want to bring that to the surface because we have the Libra moon on Monday, which is answering to the Venus building to square Uranus. So again, the arena doesn't matter. What matters is you're gonna feel infuriated. You're gonna feel like somebody has you messed up. You're gonna feel like someone's trying to control you or tell you what to do. You're gonna feel like people are not being respectful of what it is that you need. You might feel frustrated. Like again, you could just be feeling mad. Coworker has you messed up, the situation at work has you messed up, these contractors have you messed up, like the world just has you messed up, okay? So go for a walk, blow off some steam. So turns out that ducks, I have a point, I swear. So it turns out that ducks don't carry or like having a lot of chronic stress like within their body. They don't carry stress within their body. And when they studied ducks, they learned that after they have fights with other ducks, it's gonna be a duck fight. Like after a duck fight, ducks shake. Like they shake all of that stress and that tension out of their body until there's literally nothing left. Because again, when we don't allow an outlet, we can kind of like hold on to it and then it can kind of like manifest as poison within ourselves. Like again, like I was saying with the Cancer sun squaring the Libra moon, sometimes biting our tongue and keeping the peace, it's good to a certain point. Like at a certain point, you do need to let people know what's up. But you need to be strategic. Like sometimes when you've been letting something build for so long, the final explosion is in a way that you don't feel good about. Because again, it built up so much that there was so much within you that you just unleashed it, perhaps even to the wrong person. But what I want to say about the ducks is that because they shake out all of that tension and stress from their body, they don't hold on to it. Okay, so after they have a fight, a duck fight, whatever the heck ducks fight about, they shake out all of that tension, they shake out all of that frustration, and they carry on with their life. And I'm laughing because I used to be a yoga instructor and I loved it because I loved the chit chat. I loved sharing parables. And my friend took a class from me. She started laughing in class when all of a sudden I was like, ducks, ducks shake off after a fight. She's like, where is she going with this? Honestly. I think in her world, she was like, you just never know what you're going to talk about when you have us in half pigeon. Like you just never know what random fun fact is going to come out of your mouth. I'm like, you're right. I don't even know what's going to come out. I just say whatever feels right in that moment. And sometimes it's the duck piece, but I don't know. I've always just loved that piece of wisdom. I feel like we need to get that energy out of our body in a way that does not harm anybody. That's going to be important this week. Yeah, it's just funny that, the medium is different. Now I pepper my parables and my stories, my little bits of wisdom or insight in between astrological aspects rather than yoga postures, but the essence is the same. So what I would recommend on Monday, you might feel this build on Sunday as well, have something that shakes that stress off your body. That's gonna look different for everybody. What is it that calms you down when you are heated, when you are mad? Do you need to talk it out with somebody? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to paint something? Do you need to go to the beach? Like what for you helps you shake off that stress, okay? What helps you do that duck shake? Like what helps you get that stress and tension out of your body so that it's not being destructive, but it's also not destructing yourself by you holding on to it. It does demand an expression, because that's when it gets destructive, is when we build and build and build. Give it an expression, but in a constructive way, in a way that does not hurt anybody, that does no harm, okay? You can scream into a pillow, you can walk to the park, you can go to the beach and kick the sand. Like again, that is demanding an expression, but just ensuring it's not to somebody else. Be like a duck and shake it off, okay? Shake all of that energy off. And what I also want to say, and the reason I've been talking so much about words, because again, Mars square Uranus, it's not necessarily mouthy, it's just angry, right? It's taking impulsive actions. Do you know who I am? I'm my own person. Don't tell me what to do. That's the vibe. But the reason I'm emphasizing words is because Mercury is chilling at the Anorite degree for a majority of Monday. It does enter Cancer that evening. So when Mercury is in rulership at 29 degrees, there's an urgency in words. Like we're mad and we want to tell people about it, okay? Something has upset us and we want our voice to be heard, okay? And so again, there's an urgency around language. So just checking in. And when Mercury enters Cancer, like I said, the downside of Mercury in Cancer is we can be more emotionally volatile with our language, feeling something and saying it, right? Feeling something and needing to text this person about it right away. Allowing our emotions to impact how it is that we view the world, because Mercury is our thought processes. It's also, with Mercury in Cancer, there's a nostalgic vibe, there's a sentimental vibe, like within the vibe check, like you're going through keepsakes, you're going through mementos, and maybe you're not doing that physically. Some of you may be, you know, the sun's in Cancer, it can be a time that we are dialing into things from the past, but some of you can just be contemplating from the past or inspired from the past or having nostalgia about past versions of you. And I also want to highlight that with Mercury in Cancer, we can definitely want to use our words to nurture, right? To support. There's also this interesting like teamwork energy embedded within this week's astrology. So maybe it's like getting together with your roommates in order to plan and to plot, okay, how are we going to get our security deposit back? What is the most shrewd strategy we can take forward? Maybe this is just the energy where you had a bad day at work, you were angry, clients had you messed up, customers had you messed up, you felt misunderstood. And maybe it's just the energy at the end of the day, you talk to somebody that you hold dear and you're like, oh, this was so frustrating. Sometimes it could be just really helpful to be able to vent to somebody. Don't shy away from having those dialogues or from saying, hey, this happened, because maybe that's the way you transmute it. Like, I know for me personally, when something really frustrates me, there's something technological that's not working how it's meant to, or a situation happened that's ultimately unfair. I got a bill that was unfair, something of the nature. Sometimes just being able to vent to somebody around, oh, this sucks, and being able to feel held by them or nurtured by them in that moment can be helpful as well. So with Mercury in Cancer, you can talk about these things without lashing out at these people. There's a difference. Like lashing out implies a sort of misdirected anger. I'm mad, and so now I want to take out that energy on you, versus I'm angry. Can we unpack this? Can we discuss this? Can you allow me to feel held because I'm really frustrated, or allow me to see things clearly because I'm feeling frustrated? So there's this cool energy around feeling supported about the people around you and having this essence of camaraderie, whether you feel that with your family, with your loved ones, with your partner, with your friends, with your coworkers, what have you. With this energy of Mercury in Cancer, we're more likely to communicate around how things are making us feel. And it's important to highlight, even though Moon is the luminary of emotions and Mars is the planet of anger, anger is an emotion and it's begging to be expressed in some way. And sometimes when we're feeling angry, there's different layers beneath it. Like maybe that's just the top layer is anger, but underneath that is resentment and sadness and abandonment. Like again, sometimes we have to unpack it to find those layers underneath. And in my personal experience, like I've had a lot of people within my life where their dominant emotion was anger, but again, all of these layers would be beneath it. So again, sometimes it takes that unpacking around, okay, you're just lashing out about this, but really that situation was so frustrating because you feel abandoned by your boss, or you felt abandoned by your landlord, or what have you. Like sometimes anger is just the top layer emotion that's the easiest to express. And I would say I feel a lot of times for men, it's like the easiest to express because it's not always celebrated for men to be, emotional or to be able to have that full expression. So sometimes that's the easiest one that they feel comfortable expressing. But I would just encourage to allow yourself to communicate about the full range or unpack it. Maybe it's even within your own mind, journaling about what's coming to the surface. Like really, when it comes to anger, sometimes it can be an iceberg, and that we only see the angry expression. We only see the person cutting us off on the highway, or the person lashing out at the innocent gas station attendant, and there might be layers underneath. Again, I'm not defending that sort of behavior. I think it's never appropriate to lash out or be super reactive at people who do not deserve it. But all I'm saying is that if you're feeling that tendency, or you're observing somebody within your orbit who's in that very angry, volatile state, it may be worth having a conversation with them to see if there's some other emotions kind of submerging under the surface. Because based on many different factors, sometimes people feel the most comfortable expressing anger, but there might be other emotions that are building underneath that it's worth having a discussion on. So on Tuesday, June 27th, so the moon is in Libra all day, and it makes some opportunity aspects to the passion planets, which is Venus and Mars. So we definitely can be feeling more romantic. We definitely could be more in the mood to want to flirt with our work crush, or just honestly, with the moon in Libra, flirt with anybody, flirt with everybody, just make people fall in love with you for sport. Just kidding, don't do that. That's not very nice, but let's be real about Libra placements. I feel like everywhere they go, they just make people fall in love with them. So resist the urge to randomly seduce your barista is all I'm saying on Tuesday. Your charm could be on point. You could be looking on point, like certainly with the energy of Libra and Leo, we definitely could be in the mood to want to feel beautiful, to show off, to flirt, as well as to find balance within our world is really the ask with the moon in Libra. So if you feel like things have been all work and no play, there could be essence around, I need to have some fun. I need to get out on the town. If maybe the day prior you're very emotional and angry, maybe this is the day you need balance. You're like, okay, yesterday I was really frustrated. I was lashing out. Today I just need to go to a park and see some flowers. Like I just need balance. I need peace. Okay. And I would say one contributor to this energy of peace is with Venus and Mars in Leo, there can be a desire to want to make something beautiful, color, make some jewelry, create something. If you do any sort of like social media graphics or something in nature, Tuesday might be a good day to do it because you're feeling creative, but also wanting things to look aesthetically pretty, okay, is kind of like a vibe here. As well as, like I said, midweek, there's this teamwork energy, okay? Teamwork makes the dream work. There's this essence around being safe to be able to share creative ideas. I will say the Libra moon does oppose Chiron. So again, there can be a little bit of a ouch. It's like, again, you felt that anger. That's what came up right away was like, I just want to, fight back. But again, there can be stuff underneath. And the energy of the Libra moon opposite Chiron, there can be like a worthiness thing there where part of you is like, well, maybe they're right. I'm much younger. Maybe they know what they're talking about. There could be energy around, I'm probably not going to win this. They're going to win. Or maybe there's even just pain around, wow, it's so upsetting that this world wants to take advantage of me. Sometimes in this Chiron energy, we just feel like we cannot win. And it's like, why even try if I cannot win? But I want you to know, this is a week you can win. You just need to mind your impulses. You need to know that you are worthy of advocating for yourself. Again, this is the week, just like last week. Advocate for yourself, plot your next steps forward, right? I'm not saying you need to hide it into a closet and take it if people have you messed up. But what I am saying is just mind your impulses in order to really win. In order to win the situation, okay? Because you're not gonna win with knee-jerk impulsive reactions. You're gonna win with shrewd strategy and logic. And it just feels like there might be some indecision on Tuesday. You could just be feeling indecisive in many arenas of your life. And this energy around, I just wish somebody would tell me what to do. I don't know, there's this interesting energy around wishing we can outsource decision-making. on Tuesday in micro ways around, I don't know what to have for lunch, you tell me what to have, or I'm meant to lead on this project, but I don't know what's best. Like again, it feels to be something quick. It just happens kind of midday, this opposition to Chiron, where you're starting to doubt your instincts or even doubt yourself or your worthiness. Like there's something like a pang around, I want to advocate for myself, but I don't know if I have a leg to stand on, or feeling like it's so unfair that people are taking advantage of me. It just makes me want to cry. Or can I even trust my own instincts? Do I even know what's best for me? Like with this energy, we can be feeling a tendency to want to defer to other people. But again, allow the Leo placements to remind you who it is that you are, okay? You are the captain of your ship. You are the master of your fate, okay? You can have those moments around being like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but remember who you are, right? Remember who you are. Like it's always so interesting. For anybody else who's self-employed, you'll feel me on this. You know, all I'm motivated by is freedom. That's been my only motivating factor. Like I don't necessarily need to make a lot of money. Like money's great, but what really motivated me, like when I was really in the thick of it, like, you know, working 9 to 5, teaching yoga, building astrology, like doing all of the things, what was motivating to me when I was like working those really insane long days, it wasn't thinking, oh, I'm doing this all so when I'm self-employed, I can like make all this money or what have you. It was just freedom. I'm like, my eye at the end of the prize was, I just want to live a life in which I am free. Like I can decide what I do when I do it, right? Because I will say I work way more being self-employed than I ever did being employed, which I did not expect, but it's absolutely worth it because I decide what it is that I do when I do it, right? And even though I love that, there are still moments that I'm like, well, I wish someone would tell me what to do. I wish someone would tell me what to do, because sometimes you don't know and you can feel indecisive and you're like, I could do this or I could do this, and it can make you feel like, oh, am I not cut out for this, right? Because maybe you're not feeling this at work. Maybe you're feeling this in regards to a relationship decision or a money decision where you're just like, I just wish somebody would tell me what to do. You can feel that indecisiveness, but at the end of the day, like you are the master of your fate. Again, that can make you feel uncomfortable, but you can have those moments, we all have them, of feeling utterly lost and just wishing we had someone telling us what to do. But at the end of the day, this is your life, right? So take a moment, feel what's coming up, feel the indecision. And again, sorry, I'm just gonna redo this clip while I am talking. But again, you can feel those moments of doubting yourself, doubting your instincts, doubting if you could even do it, but allow the Leo placements to be like, oh yeah, I've got this. I know who I am. Like you can have those moments around and be like, I don't know what to do. How do I grow my business? How do I grow my passion project? How do I grow my relationship? Like, what do I do? You can have those moments around and be like, I just wish someone would tell me what to do or give me guidance. But at the end of the day, you are your own best guidance system. You're your own best GPS. Uh-oh, missed a whole clip. So you see, like I can't even manage my hair. I'm meant to manage a company, but but again, you can have those moments of being like, what am I doing? Can I do this? Imposter syndrome. Am I able to do this? You can feel that, but again, defer to the Leo placements. Remind yourself who it is that you are, okay? You've got this. But at the end of the day, you need to trust your own judgment. You have to trust your own instincts. It is your life. You are in charge of it, and that can feel scary at times, but it can also feel really empowering at times. So choose to frame things as empowering when possible. So on Wednesday, the 28th, so in the middle of the night, around 1 a.m., the Libra moon does square Pluto. So you might experience on Tuesday night some difficulty sleeping or feeling like your emotions are going to some really intense places. Of course, a lot of us will be asleep for that, but shortly after then, the moon ingresses into Scorpio, which is the moon's fall. Okay, so it's not necessarily the comfiest territory for the moon, because again, moon in Scorpio is plunging us deep into the fields. And like I've been talking about the moon, the sun is answering to the moon. So not only are we building to next Monday's Capricorn full moon, which is making our emotions get bigger and bigger, we're also in Cancer season, which is a time that the moon is of the utmost importance. And now the moon is in a sign that she does not particularly enjoy. So we could be feeling things really intensely. But I will say the Scorpio moon has a lot of support. And in spirit of the vibe check, you know, if you have any Scorpio friends, they are gifted as it relates to revenge, okay? They're very strategic. Because, you know, the two Mars ruled signs, I'm a traditional astrologer, so I use Mars as the ruler of Scorpio, not Pluto. But the two Mars ruled signs are Aries and Scorpio. Aries is a side of Mars action that's very knee-jerk, very now. where Scorpio is more so, let's wait, let's plot, let's strategize, right? And that's the ask this week. Certainly there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of water in the cosmos right now. Okay, so we're feeling things intensely. We have energies in Cancer, so we could be thinking about the past, or maybe this experience of having this dispute with our landlord. It's making us think of other situations that we felt taken advantage of, that people tried to pull a ruse on us, or anything of that nature. But with the moon entering Scorpio, it's like, okay, it's time to strategize. And if you're not necessarily feeling strong or able to handle this, again, there's this teamwork energy. Reach out how people can help you. Reach out to your roommates. Hey, do you guys have any selfies, any content? We need to prove that these elements of the house were fine, as we did turn over the keys and they're trying to keep our security deposit. Again, there's like this energy around shrewd strategy. And I also want to let you know, to a very just basically day-to-day essence, there's some hardworking energy in the middle of the week. We have the Cancer Sun trining Saturn in Pisces on Wednesday, which is really around seeing what true victory is, okay? What is the true win? Is the win being able to lash out at this person? Or is the win being able to bite your tongue, collect evidence, and win your security deposit back? Okay, you need to decide what a win is. You need to decide victory. Now, for your kind of like daily life, when it comes to Sun trine Saturn, this is hard working. This is seeing the big picture of what it is that you're wanting to build and feeling inspired that you are able to be the version of yourself that it will take to grow into that ambition. Because again, we can focus on the what we want, but with Sun trine Saturn, it's also the who we become as it relates to what it is that we want. With Sun trine Saturn, it's really committing to the version of yourself that you need to be. And obviously with all this energy in Cancer, we're contemplating the past, but maybe in a nostalgic way. Like for me, when I was sharing that little bit about teaching yoga classes and how I'd always just be talking about random parables and things. Sometimes contemplating things in the past, it makes you feel more supported actually, because there's like little hints within your past that kind of signal where it is that you're meant to grow towards or grow to, right? So thinking about, you know, maybe you're a photographer and you have like baby pictures of you holding a camera. Like sometimes there's little clues just embedded within our past. And oftentimes, you know, your past prepared you for this present moment and you are preparing for future you, right? Like Saturn is time, hence all of my discussion lately on future you and all of these things. Like again, we might not understand the particular lessons that we're learning right now and how that is helping us to our big picture, but there's an energy with Sun trine Saturn where we're open to the work, we're open to what it is that we're learning, reminiscing on how the past had interesting clues around where it is that we are currently, as well as there might be certain lessons that we're embracing within the present that are helpful for our future. My mom considers her current job her dream job, and truly whenever I get to like visit her and see her there, she is in her element, okay? She gets to chat with people all day, like that is her dream. That would be my nightmare, but that's her dream. Very chatty, very good with people. And her job involves all of these random side quests. Like there's all of these like basically she's the face of the organization. So a lot of people come to her and basically have all sorts of varying needs for her. And she expressed to me, she was like, every job I had before this prepared me for this dream job. There were random side quests and random roles where she learned this piece of insight that she's able to relate to individuals who come to her, or this particular task she for some reason integrates within this job. Again, you never know how where it is that you are currently, whether that's job, relationship, like you just never know how what you are learning currently is going to be helpful as it relates to the big picture, okay, of whatever it is that you're building. But I will say there's an energy in which we are looking towards the future and really wanting to build something that will grow with time. We're really wanting to arise to the highest version of ourselves, to understand all of the hints from our past around our past experiences and how it shaped us and prepared us for this present moment, how our passions were clued in at such a young age. Does anybody feel that? Like when they look at pictures of themselves when they're younger or just think about their childhood, there's certain things that you loved then and you still love now. And you're like, I knew in some essence, I knew in some level, right? It was encoded into my DNA. It was just like a part of me, like I just knew, right? So again, some of you could be reminiscing around, wow, it's so funny that I'm integrating this particular skill that I learned from that job that I hated, but now I'm being able to integrate it within my own business. So it feels good. There's just an energy where it's like, we're not exactly where we want to be, but we're feeling motivated on pursuit. We feel like we're in the right place at the right time. And even if this is not your big picture, highest ambition, I am living my life's purpose, There's something around feeling motivated around what it is that you're currently learning or the who you are arising into, okay? And like I'm saying with all the Saturn energy, typically more reserved behavior is best with Sun, trine Saturn. Allow your actions to do the talking. Be more strategic. Err on the side of caution. This is like cautious progress is the vibe of Wednesday. So great time to focus on the big picture, handle things that you want to grow and to improve with time. And the cool thing about the Sun trine Saturn is that it's actually involved in a grand trine. So we have the Cancer Sun and Mercury in Cancer trining Saturn in Pisces, trining the Scorpio moon. So with the water grand trine, inspiration can be high. And one thing I want to express, and it's probably just one person out there who needs to hear this, but but it feels important. It's on my heart to share. But I want you to know that you were made for this and you've got this, okay? I feel that there's someone out there where it's like you feel like you are too sensitive to be that manager that you want to be that leader that you want to be self-employed like you want to be, to put out that EP that you want to do. Like there's this energy around, I'm too sensitive, right? I can't do this. Again, everybody has seasons. Everybody has emotions. I don't want you to hold yourself back because you feel like you are too sensitive, okay? Or you feel like you are too emotional. I want you to know your sensitivity, your emotions are why you are going to be successful. It is important to manage them, regulate them, use them appropriately, but they are not a flaw. They are not a downside. And it's so funny because growing up, I virtually thought sensitive was an insult. I thought sensitive was an insult. Like I'll never forget, it was an amethyst. I got like an amethyst little necklace or something. Maybe it was Pisces. I think it was amethyst. That's my birthstone. I remember I got like an amethyst birthstone like pendant or something when I was younger. And they had a little bit talking about, you know, February babies. And one of the points that it said, you know, it was like thoughtful, whatever. And then one of them was like sensitive. And I was so offended. I was like, why does this say I'm sensitive? That's so rude. Because in my mind, because I'd been told it so much and in a more negative connotation, I virtually thought sensitive was an insult. Like I thought they were insulting me. So I could not believe this nice piece of jewelry was calling me sensitive. Sensitivity can be a strength, okay? It can be destructive at times, okay? Never underestimate water energy, okay? Never underestimate water energy because emotion can be fuel. And again, you might be feeling all this emotion around this frustrating landlord situation and it's kind of like simmering, you know, that rage, but you're using the Saturn energy to kind of build your case. But again, maybe you would have let it go if you weren't so emotionally riled, but because there's so much emotions, there's power there, right? But I also want to let you know, don't underestimate water energy because I think, truthfully, hot take, I think water signs can be the most cruel. They could be the sweetest, okay? But they can be the most cruel, particularly water signs that are underdeveloped in essence. When you feel things so intensely, you can use those emotions to justify why you made them do that, or again, to justify why you had to lash out, and that's not always a very healthy nor constructive way to live. So all I'll say on Wednesday, definitely deep emotions, but there's something around those emotions that are motivating you towards the future, whether it's creative ideas that you want to build, whether it's doing things that are going to support your big picture, whether it's using your sensitivity to manage or to lead in new effective ways. There's this energy around reframing everything that you felt was a downside about yourself, around I'm too sensitive to succeed or I'm too emotional, what have you. It's reframing it. It's just understanding we can be emotional without allowing it to run our lives, right? We can allow ourselves to feel things deeply without acting on that right away. Like again, there's a lot simmering under the surface, but we're building forward in a very strategic and shrewd way. In the midst of that water grand trine, so deep emotions, deep creativity, there's also the Scorpio moon opposite Jupiter. So we can be a little overestimating, right? There can be some big emotions, big emotional displays. So also hold some space for that on Wednesday. Okay, so let's talk about Thursday, June 29th. So here's the thing about Thursday, June 29th. There's definitely some helpful energy. There's definitely some healing energy, okay? But there's a lot of tense energy, okay? On Thursday, we could be feeling really tense, really frustrated. We are not seeing eye to eye. And the reason of this is the fixed T-square. Again, there's a lot of us this week. There's gonna be people who have us messed up, okay? There's gonna be situations where it's like, wow, this landlord really thought I was gonna let this slide. Right? They really thought I was just gonna be like, okay, no security deposit. Or maybe for you, it's like a coworker who threw you under the bus or a customer who ratted you out. Like again, there's just something where it's like, these people have me misunderstood. Okay, I'm not going to fly with this. And with the energy of fixed T-square, we can be feeling very frustrated. Uranus is in the mix, and when we have deeply Uranian weeks, which we do this week, there can be a desire that we want to eject out of our own life. We can be feeling so frustrated that we almost just want to change everything. You know, when you have a bad day at work and you're just like, I just need to quit, and I need to dye my hair, and I need bangs, and I need to just reinvent myself. Again, you don't. There's many attributes of your life that are beautiful and amazing, but when you're that frustrated, you're just like, get me out of it, right? And this is not the week that I would recommend doing things spontaneous. Yes, you will feel an urge to do something very restless and spontaneous, and you can rebel in little ways. You can be spontaneous in little ways. Take a spontaneous trip to the beach or make something weird and unexpected. But I would really strive to seek that clarity, right? Come back to your body before moving, changing your name, getting bangs, like doing all of the things. And I want to actually spotlight something. I saw a comment last week. I always love reading your guys' comments. But last week there was a question around why I don't recommend breaking up during Venus retrograde, Venus pre-retrograde shadow. And the reason is this. Is because of the Venus square Uranus energy that we are navigating this week. Now, if you have clarity, you're like, I need to get out of this connection. This is not the person for me. Like again, with the Sun trining Saturn and Mercury trining Saturn midweek, there's an energy around our big picture around, I want a life like that. I want a life like that. That is what victory looks like to me. That is what a win looks like to me. And is this the partner that's going to allow me to get there, right? Do we see the future similarly? Are we going in the right direction? And like I was saying, sometimes you have to lose the quarter to win the game, okay? And what I mean by lose the quarter in this context is sometimes you have to, be sad and let go of this particular, relationship in order to build the future that you genuinely want. Like Saturn is that shrewd energy around love you, love this, but I'm building something different. With that being said, that's not the story for everybody. Like I said, with this week, we're more frustrated, okay? You could be wanting to leave a relationship because your partner left the toilet seat open, okay? Like Uranus, yes, it makes us crave differences and changes, but it's not the most steady. Okay, so I just want you to find that moment of clarity before removing yourself from a relationship, because breaking up isn't always a solution. If you do not see a future and you know that your values are not in sync or you're not feeling valued within the connection, absolutely, this can be a time that you're reviewing whether or not you want to be in the partnership. But for a lot of us, we're going to be feeling really frustrated and like be contemplating, what would life look like if I was not in this relationship and the toilet seat was always down, or whatever it is. Like there's just some frustrations brewing, and certainly on Thursday as well. You could feel this at work. You could feel this with your partner. There's just an energy around we're feeling frustrated. The moon's in Scorpio, so we're feeling things intensely. We want to pull our hair out, low-key. And maybe it's just minor frustrations. Maybe it's not necessarily beefing with your landlord and all of these things. Maybe it's just little things. The printer's not working. I want to pull my hair out. This person isn't communicating to me. I want to pull my hair out. I stubbed my toe. I want to pull my hair out. Little things are getting under our skin, okay? But I want to say on Thursday, even though the moon is pretty stressed, we have some helpful energy. So we have Venus trine Chiron, which is this energy around healing both our own worthiness, our own value, as well as money, relationships. Like again, with the energy of Venus trining Chiron, it's this healing balm. Like maybe there was certain energy around, should I even fight for this? Am I even worthy? I'm just a young person. What do I know? Do I really know about the damages or what have you? Like again, that's sort of dissipating. With Venus trine Chiron, you're realizing I'm a worthy person. For those of you who are contemplating your relationship, this could be energy around understanding your worth. Okay, understanding your beauty. Okay, I highlighted the bangs piece just because this is not the week that I would do a spontaneous haircut, dye your hair spontaneously. You might really be craving a change as the Venus builds to square Uranus, but it's not the week that I would recommend. Like there's something building around really embracing your own authentic style is the energy with Venus trine Chiron. And again, with Venus square Uranus, we can be feeling really frustrated and just want a whole new life, a whole new wardrobe. I know me personally, getting ready today, I was like, I hate everything. I hate everything I've ever thrifted and everything I've ever bought. And that's not the case. I love many things that I have, but I was just so over it. So, some of you might be able to tell, but this is a skirt, okay? I'm telling you guys, I am running out of clothes to wear on Magic Monday. I've been doing this for 3 years now, which is wild. But it used to be on Instagram. It didn't used to be on YouTube. But I've been doing this for 3 years now. So I'm running out of clothes, okay? And I'm just not the girlie who's gonna run and go buy something. So I gotta get creative, like wearing skirts as dresses. and shirts, which is, a trick that I've pulled out before. But anyways, what I want to say with Venus trine Chiron, let's say in the wardrobe example, let's say you were just like, I hate all my clothes. With Venus trine Chiron, it's wearing something in which you feel like it's you. And maybe it's like, the clothes are just symptomatic of internally just not feeling beautiful, right? Like you're not feeling confident with your own glow. So it's easier to say, oh, I hate all my clothes, they're making me feel bad. But the energy of Venus trine Chiron is like feeling more confident, feeling more beautiful about yourself, and understanding the clothes weren't the problem. It's just how it is that I've been viewing myself, okay? That'll be a story for some people. For some, it's healing something around money, okay? It's something around worthiness, whether you are worthy of spending money on. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for past financial mistakes or something of that nature. Like, Venus just squared Jupiter the other day. Okay. And that day I bought 3 lip glosses. Like I did not need 3 lip glosses, but alas, they were purchased. So maybe you need to forgive yourself for buying 3 lip glosses. Like, the direction of life keeps moving forward. We can learn from the past, but we need to heal what transpired and not be angry with ourselves. You can be healing relationship stuff, okay? Like I've been saying with Venus retrograde, or rather Venus in pre-retrograde shadow, a lot of us are contemplating the past, and that could be painful to revisit the past. But with Venus trine Chiron, there is this energy around being able to extract new wisdom from the past, or be able to like move forward, take the lessons and keep it moving, right? It's very much thank you next energy. And if you are in an argument with your partner, this is a time in which you could really want to be like healing the connection, especially with that evening Mercury will trine Saturn. So it's really around how can we communicate where it is that we are and create the pathway forward to healing. Because like I said, leaving and ejecting yourself from a relationship is not always the solution. If you're in a dangerous situation, if you're in a scary situation, if you're in a situation where you are not valued, my love, get out with the quickness. I know it's super hard, but use the Saturn energy to plot your next steps. Get out. But what I'm saying is that this is the sort of week where even if we're in a relationship that's so good and so respectful, we're feeling frustrated because a part of Uranus energy is that we're really craving the space to do our own thing. We're like, well, in my own world, the toilet seat would always be down and I wouldn't have to, go to all your friends' stuff. Like I would just be able to do my own thing, okay? So what I want to say to those individuals, right, is that this is not the week to have utter clarity over it, but it is a week around being able to heal past arguments, and with Mercury trine Saturn, pave a pathway forward. Voice what it is that you need. Voice the future that you want to create, and voice what it is that you need from them in order to create that. Or just even spotlight, this is how I see the future. Do you see it differently? If you do, it might not be in alignment, but also you need to voice what it is that you need, because sometimes people don't know to the level how much it might infuriate you if the toilet seat is up, or how much it infuriates you when they, lash out or are snappy with you. Like with Mercury trine Saturn, we're feeling inclined and in tune with our emotions. Mercury is in Cancer, it's a very emotionally intelligent sign. But with the trine to Saturn, we're communicating it in a very logical way, okay, or at least pragmatic. It's a very grounded way of expressing. We're saying what's on our heart, we're saying what's on our spirit, but we're communicating it in a very logical, pragmatic way. This is what I need. This is where I'm going. Can you be that? And for some of you with Venus trine Chiron, it can be healing from a past story that you've been ensnared in within your connection. It can be healing from past energies of your relationships and how they're impacting your current connection, or just an energy in which you're thinking long-term about the future and whether your partner can support you on that. So that'll only be a message for a couple of you, but something I want to highlight with the energy of Mercury trine Saturn overall. Again, it kind of ties into Sun trining Saturn as well, in that we're thinking long term, we're thinking in the future, and with Mercury trine Saturn, we're plotting, we're getting our ducks in a row, we're getting Exhibit A. Me talking about ducks so much in this video, what the heck? But we're talking about, Exhibit A, here's a selfie. The ceiling fan was on. Exhibit B, here's a party that we had where in the background you can clearly see that the blinds, were closed, and there's other examples. Like again, it's getting our evidence together. Like we might be emotionally incensed about a situation, but we're able to communicate it in a very pragmatic way. And not to talk about it again, but all I'll say is that if you have been in a connection with somebody who made you feel always emotional and like crazy, you learn how to do this. Like you learn how to have receipts. Like you learn how to write things down on your notes, or like kind of just like note exhibits and stuff, because when it comes out in an argument that reality will be twisted and contorted. And it's helpful sometimes to not participate, even if it makes you angry, to not participate in being like all emotional and hysterical at their level, and to be able to be calm, cool, and collected and say like, Exhibit A, this, Exhibit B, this. Like, again, the reason I'm saying it's not in your favor this week to be very emotionally volatile or emotionally reactive is that when you're in that state, not only are you not seeing things clearly, but it is easier for people to manipulate you. Because again, they could turn when you calm down, they could turn it around and be like, you were insane, you were yelling, you were crying, you were sending me all caps messages. So again, sometimes we need to feel the anger, feel the emotions, feel what's coming to the surface, breathe, express it in your own way, go to the people that support you, go to the activities that support you, go to what supports you while you strategize how it is that you're gonna bring this up, or strategize the exhibits around this was not okay, this was not okay. So with Venus trine Chiron, it's either healing your own fear of being alone, okay, with Chiron and Aries, or it's healing past hurts, it's healing and allowing your vulnerability to be part of your connection, and it's also with the energy of Mercury trine Saturn, being able to move towards your future, whether it's with this person or not, okay? That'll just be a message for a couple of you, but something that I feel is big in the cosmos right now. And just to specify, the fixed T-square is the Scorpio moon squaring off with Venus and Mars in Leo and opposing Uranus in Taurus. So things that are unexpected, feeling frustrated, feeling like people are trying to tell you what to do, some sort of power struggles or stubbornness can definitely be expected. And again, feeling frustrated. You're like a tea kettle just about to whistle. There's a lot bubbling underneath the surface, okay? But with the energy of Mercury building to trine Saturn, think pragmatically, think long-term, think logically, okay, about your next course of action. So if something upsetting happens at work, before just saying, see my last email, take a moment. Gather the receipts, gather the evidence. That's one thing about a water grand trine. Water signs have the evidence, okay? They have the tea, they have the receipts, all for different reasons, but I guarantee Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, they typically have the receipts. Cancer has the receipts because they're sentimental and they tend to hold on to things from their past. Scorpio has the receipts because they're a bit like paranoid and they almost just like feel like people are gonna betray them, so they like hold on to the receipts. And Pisces holds on to receipts because they just romanticize everything. So it might just be, you know, a selfie while they're moving out, but they're like, oh, I was moving out. I was having my Hannah Montana moment. So on Friday, June 30th, so the Scorpio moon trines Neptune. So do pay attention to your dreams, especially since Friday is when Neptune stations retrograde. So Friday is a very Neptunian day. And the thing about Neptune is, yes, it's our dreams, it's our spirituality. Like I was saying with water grand trine, it can be very intuitive, okay? Like intuition can be used as strategy. That's how Cancer placements win, is they're very in sync with timing and they trust their instincts, okay? That's how Cancer placements, and all of us with so much Cancer in the cosmos, wins, is that they trust their instincts. And again, it's not trusting your impulses around what it is that you feel called to do knee-jerk, but it's trusting when it is that something's really come to the surface around your next course of action, around, oh, you should see, you know, the landlord's boss, or whatever is coming to the surface for you. But what I want to say, pay attention to your dreams. And, you know, with outer planets retrograde, it's not the biggest deal. Like I get questions all the time, people being like, my Pluto's retrograde and my Neptune's retrograde. Like, outer planets are commonly retrograde. They're more retrograde out of the year than they are direct. So it's not the biggest personal deal, whether you have it natally, as well as when it's just, you know, in the cosmos. But what I will say is that we do feel planets when they switch direction. And the energy of Neptune retrograde is really around essentially contemplating where it is that we have kept ourselves suspended in a state of delusion or even denial. I do feel there's this interesting energy building this week of Saturn trining Saturn and Mercury trining Saturn around, really logically thinking, is what I'm doing now, is this getting me to my victory? Is this getting me to my big picture? And with Neptune stationing retrograde, there's really a review around where have I kept myself suspended in someday, or suspended in this person's potential rather than what's showing up. Where have I kept myself suspended in that fantasy rather than participating in my reality right here, right now? And again, this could come to the surface in many different ways. To bring it back to the vibe check, this could be energy around reviewing where it is that you've deluded yourself into thinking that everybody is a good person. Again, you could be positive, you could be love and light, but again, you do have to be shrewd sometimes, okay? There are people who unfortunately do want to take advantage of you. And with Neptune, you know, shifting directions, not physically moving backwards, but from our vantage point on Earth, with it beginning to enter prior degrees, it's really reviewing where have we kept ourselves suspended in this dream, and is it serving us? Okay, like again, it's so beautiful to believe in life and believe that people are good at heart, and again, a lot of people are. But with Neptune retrograde, it's like, where have I been giving people the benefit of the doubt too easily? Where have I been trusting too easily? Like maybe there's been circumstances where I wouldn't even read the damages. I would just be like, oh, whatever, like they know better than I. Like again, maybe it's being suspended, this energy around, well, everybody has a heart like mine, so they wouldn't try to take advantage of me. Like again, you gotta be shrewd in this life, okay? It is important. And also with Neptune retrograde, again, it's not strictly romantic, but just to bring to the surface a different manifestation of this, Neptune retrograde could be like really reviewing whether holding out hope for a certain situation that does not feel like it's going to manifest or take place within reality, if it's serving you. Again, we talked about this in Venus trine Neptune week. Sometimes it can be so beautiful to have a muse or to feel inspired by somebody, right? But sometimes you have to contemplate, is this bringing more harm than good into my life? I just want to share, I was listening to a video by Crappy Childhood Fairy. I'll link her video below because it was incredibly helpful, especially if you do or have struggled with limerence, okay? I deeply recommend checking it out. I mean, I always thought I was a Pisces Venus, but when I learned about limerence, I was like, oh, this is making sense. Okay. But anyways, in one of her videos, she was talking about how when you essentially are limerent, which, just to give a quick definition, limerence is essentially being in this state of fantasy around idealizing somebody who you think is going to solve all of your problems and allow you to escape your world, okay? And the concept of limerence, it only functions in a world in which you cannot be with this person. Because even if you get the object of your affection, that limerence will likely go away, because you know, when someone's in a state of limerence, they never leave the toilet seat open. Like, you know, you can idealize them, you could project onto them everything that you are unfulfilled with in this person. And something that she said that really stuck with me was this idea that when you are limerent, you are not participating within your own reality. Again, you're feeling this dream life, and like once things come together and once things are better, it's all going to be good. You are literally not in your own reality. You are bolstering this other reality. With Neptune retrograde, any sort of dream that you've had around one day this will happen, one day it'll happen, it'll be reviewed around, is this dream helping me to build my future? With the energy of Sun and Mercury trining Saturn, is me fantasizing around, you know, being a pop star or model or whatever it is that you dream about? Is it helping me in my future? Is it helping me go to my, you know, model calls? Is it helping me record my EP, right? That's a helpful dream. But all I'm saying is there's going to be a review around things that you've held out hope for, or things that you fueled this fantasy where it's not infusing your reality. In fact, it's allowing you to feel more removed from your reality because you're bolstering and you're putting so much energy into this dream life that at this particular moment in time has not come into a fruition. So there will be a review around anything that you've seen rose-colored glasses around, whether it's other people's intentions, okay, dreams that you've had over the future, and really reviewing, is this helpful for me? Okay, that's going to be the ask here. And again, with Neptune retrograde, there's a review of ruses. The landlord might not have expected you to come with exhibits, right? Like the jig is up. The jig is up. You can't do this. And maybe they'll learn something so they don't do this to somebody else, right? Neptune could be the energy of fogginess and mystery. So maybe people get lost within the jargon, but they just messed with the wrong one, okay? I remember I used to work at a coffee shop when I was in college, and they had a mandatory meeting. And when we got our paychecks, I said, hi, I noticed that the meeting hours weren't on it. And they said in email, oh no, meeting time is not paid. Ooh, I wanted to be like, what are you talking about? But again, kept my cool, looked at the labor code, cited all of my sources, got myself paid, got everybody paid, and from then on, we always got paid for meetings. Again, sometimes you have to be the person, the whistleblower, or the one who basically says the jig is up, because I wish it wasn't the case, but I will say whether it's corporations or whether it's people, like a lot of people can benefit from you giving them the benefit of the doubt or believing that everybody is good at heart or that people will do the right thing. Like sometimes you do have to be discerning. And with Neptune switching directions, it's like, where have I not been as discerning within my life? So just something to look out for. But I will say on Friday, like we feel planets very strongly when they switch directions. So we could absolutely be in the fantasy. We could be in the dream. We could just be feeling disconnected. Like the moon enters Sagittarius on Friday. So we could really be in the mood for adventure. We could be looking forward to the weekend. It could be hard to participate within reality, right? We are just somewhere else. Okay, that's the energy of Neptune. It's like being somewhere else. And in those videos, she just talks about when you're a limerent, you put all of this energy into this somewhere else, and aspects of your real life begin to suffer. Your friendships suffer, your relationship suffers, your career suffers, because again, all of your energy is being put towards this world that does not exist. All I'll say on Friday is that there can be energy around thinking about all the things that you want to do over the weekend, craving adventure. Things could feel unreal. You could definitely be wanting to check out from reality with substances or anything of nature that can be very Neptunian. And listen, the Sagittarius moon, it's a lot of fun. Okay, it's very adventurous and spontaneous, but it squares Saturn at 8:08 that evening. So there can be energy around getting home after work and be like, oops, I didn't like submit that project, or oops, I didn't do this. Like again, I was like in my own world. I was like having fun, doing my own thing, or like maybe I was working from home and I was really doing other things or what have you, and you could have let certain things slide. So important to be mindful of, or there just could be an energy around, I want to have fun, I want an adventure, and I'm feeling stuck by my current reality in some facet, whether I neglected certain responsibilities because I was in la la land all day at work, or whether I want to go on this trip and there's certain hindrances. Maybe I just wanted to come back from work and now my kids are like demanding a lot from me. Like there just could be energy around wanting to thrive and feel free and adventure, and life is basically like, you thought you could thrive and adventure at this moment. Again, this too shall pass. And what's interesting on Friday is that the sun meets up with Mercury in Cancer. So there can be a lot of mental ideas. Like again, you're in la la land, not always a bad thing, but do be mindful because Neptune retrograde will make you review, are my dreams helping my reality or are they detaching me from it? Okay, that's really the ask here. But with Sun Mercury, it's like there can be epiphanies. There can be ahas, right? Like with Sun Mercury, there can be ahas around your emotions, around, oh, that's why I'm limerent over somebody that I hardly know because I'm unsatisfied with these arenas of my life. So it's easier to project on this person everything that I'm not satisfied about, right? That'll be a manifestation for some. Or it's really just giving aha energy. It's giving aha on a certain emotion, on a certain, even just something that you research that clarifies, illuminates things in a whole new way. There just feels to be something that you are getting clarity on because again, Sun and Mercury are now separating from Saturn. So there's something where you saw your future or you saw what it is that you want to build. You had all this forward momentum around what it is that you want to build. And there's almost this energy around aha, around how to get to your future or the shifts you need to make in order to get to that end result. Like again, there's a lot of energy this week. If we're able to temper our impulses, like we're really getting this aha around next steps, where I want to be and if my current existence is getting me there, right? And also with Sun Mercury, it can also be just with the energy in Cancer, illuminating how past experiences, because maybe it's not like, aha, oh, I figured out my current situation. Maybe it's figuring out, aha, this certain situation from childhood is why I am the way now, right? Or like it just feels like something's clicking on Friday that you hadn't contemplated before, whether it's a piece of information, an aha about your childhood, an aha about your dream. There's something you're starting to figure out. I will say with Sun being the planet of ego, and Mercury being the planet of logic and intellect, there can be an energy in which we are a little bit egotistical or attached to our opinions. So it's not the time I would debate because you're not being able to see them clearly. And it's interesting, we have this stabilizing energy with Saturn because technically before this, Mercury is combust. It's in the light of the sun, so it's not always the most clear, which is also why I've been recommending this week, wait for clarity, okay? Wait for clarity, try not to speak too soon or lash out, wait for clarity to come. And on Friday, I would just say, it's gonna be hard to have discussions without seeing yourself involved into it. So if there's something on your heart, on your spirit, it's going to be hard to talk about those emotions and talk about the situation as an entity in itself. You're just seeing the you involved in the situation a little too much. So again, valuable for epiphanies, write it down, create about it, what have you, but it's not the time that I would like necessarily vocalize it. Okay, Saturday is a lot of fun. So you know, I was saying Friday night, it's like we want to thrive and be free, but circumstances are hindering us. Whether we came home, we wanted to make a particular meal, we're out of a key ingredient. We came home, we wanted to chill, our kids are being crazy. Like there's just something where it's like, like I just want to do my own thing and just life is not participating. But I will say Saturday more than makes up for it. So we have on Saturday, we have the sun sextiling Jupiter and we have Mercury sextiling Jupiter. So again, epiphany, and it's carving a way forward, right? With the sextiles to Jupiter, we're feeling optimistic around the epiphany. Again, some of these epiphanies will be emotionally charged. Let's be real, in the sign of Cancer, it can be this thing around, oh my gosh, now that I know this, I can't unknow this. Now that I have clarity around how it is that I feel about the situation, I can't go back in time. Sometimes clarity can make us feel happy, sometimes it can make us feel sad, dependent on the next steps. But I will say on Saturday, this energy around feeling more free now that you have this realization or now that you have this epiphany and wanting to have fun, okay? It's a fun day. The moon's in Scorpio all day, so we're wanting to adventure, we're wanting to explore. It's the beginning of July, and what a blessed beginning of July it is. We're really in the mood to go new places, talk to new people, have new experiences. We're in the mood to say yes to life because the Sagittarius moon trines Venus in Leo and trines Chiron in Aries. You know, for some of you, if the Venus trine Chiron was around healing your fear of being alone, like by Saturday, there's this energy around feeling more light and feeling more free because of it. Because again, when it comes to like breakups, it's so up and down. There's moments where you're like, I am feeling so good and it's going great. And then moments where you're like, what am I doing? And again, embracing that. But Saturday sort of feels like that energy when you're finally like, wow, I can do this. Like I'm doing this, right? Like I'm having these experiences. I'm living my life. Like I'm healing where I thought I needed this person, right? Now, not all of us are going through a breakup, okay? Now, that won't be the story for everyone. For some of us, it's just healing, being our own person, embracing our raw vulnerability, doing our own thing. I will say this is a very independent weekend. We're really wanting to do our own thing and be our own person and having our own experiences. And you're not really going to want to be told what to do. Like even if you are in a relationship, there's this energy where you're like wanting to do your own thing, be your own person, just be like, you do you, I'm doing me. Nothing disrespectful, but there's this energy where it's like, I want to live. It's July, it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere. I want to live, I want to be on the beach with a book, I want to be wearing mini skirts, like whatever is simmering within you. You're wanting to do your own thing, okay? And that's really the vibe this weekend around being independent, wanting to explore on your own, be spontaneous on your own. And I want to let you know, relationships are healthy when you each have your own world and allow yourselves the space to have experiences and do your own thing, okay? Like that's an important part to relationship. You can still go out and do things on your own, even if you are in a relationship. Take yourself on a date, go on a new adventure. If your partner never wants to roller skate and you do, take yourself on a roller skating date. Again, you don't have to wait on anybody to give you what it is that you want out of life. You can reach out and get it. So that energy that I was telling you about around wanting to do your own thing, that reaches a peak on Sunday, July 2nd. So Venus squares Uranus. And let's firstly talk about love. So with Venus square Uranus, we're creating the space to be able to do our own thing, be our own person, right? Venus is in Leo. We want to flaunt. We want to create, right? We want to just do us. And with the square to Uranus, we're not in the mood to allow our vibe to be tampered by what somebody else thinks we should do, right? So with the Venus square Uranus, I will just say, like, if you notice that your partner is a little bit less responsive or they kind of want to do their own thing, it's just kind of a weekend. Let's just all live. Let's just all thrive. Let's have experiences so we can come together and tell one another about what it is that we've been up to. Like that would be something helpful here. I will say if you're single and looking with Venus square Uranus, there can be someone random or something unexpected happening. Venus is in its pre-retrograde shadow, so you could hear from someone from the past. It's kind of unexpected, like very much record scratch, like, huh? What? You? What? I was not expecting that. And with Venus square Uranus as well, Venus is money. So there can be a random expense that you were not anticipating. Again, I was counting on the security deposit and this threw a wrench in the plans. This was not expected. But Uranus can be also good surprises. You find an old wallet that has money in it. Maybe it's getting a check from a random lawsuit. Again, being open to random flows of money and how they reach you. I would advise doing anything impulsive as it relates to beauty and style. Like again, me personally, getting ready today, I wanted to burn everything I owned. I would never do that, but I wanted to. I was like, get me away from all this stuff. I hate it all. Venus square Uranus would not be the energy I would go out and buy a wardrobe, because Uranus is not steady. It's spontaneous. So you could go buy all this stuff for this new aesthetic that you're going to be over in 2 weeks. There are some people where if it's right for you, this might be a time that you are contemplating whether or not you want to be in this relationship. Like Venus retrograde, it's a time to review our love lives, right? But with Venus square Uranus, we could just be feeling really restless and just really wanting to do our own thing and being our own person. It's not always the most clear state of mind. So if you have not had any of these thoughts before this weekend, then all of a sudden you see that toilet seat up and you're just ready to release the connection. All in all I'll say is wait for that Uranus energy to calm. Like wait for that energy of clarity. It's going to be important. And what I also want to say with Sunday the 2nd is that it is the day before the full moon. So we have the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd. So again, when the moon's getting bigger and bigger, our emotions are getting bigger and bigger. So you might be feeling things intensely. So it's like, you saw that toilet seat up and you were just like, rah, like I just want to do my own thing. I want to move. I want to live in my own studio. Like I just can't any longer. And I don't want to invalidate your feelings. Like feel what's coming to the surface, but I will let you know things are heightened. Things are big at this time. Our emotions are big at this time. And with the Venus square Uranus, there's an energy in which we are wanting to change love, beauty, money. Okay. We're wanting to change something in that arena. We're wanting to spontaneously quit our job. We're wanting to spontaneously end our relationship. We're wanting to spontaneously change our beauty and style. But I want to let you know this aspect will repeat 2 more times during Venus retrograde's journey. And Venus is treading through degrees that it will revisit. So we will revisit what's on our mind at this moment. So don't feel like you need to take action right here, right now, especially when we consider what the moon is up to on the 2nd. We have the Sagittarius moon trining Mars and Leo, so it can be feeling more bold. Then it squares Neptune. So head in the clouds. As I said, like again, we could be idealizing if only I was out of this relationship and I lived in a studio by myself and the toilet seat would always be down or what have you. Like again, we could be idealizing quite a bit, and that might not necessarily, be the case. We might get to that studio and be like, wait, I changed my mind, And the moon is void from 6:33 a.m. to 10:20 a.m., at which point the moon enters Capricorn, which is, yes, the moon's detriment. It's also not too happy there, and also the sign of the full moon. I'm not saying you can't change your life, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you need to wait and wait and wait forever. All I'm saying is Uranus is sudden, it's spontaneous, it's novel, it's not very steady. Contemplate what's coming up as data, honor your emotions, honor that epiphany that could have come in with Friday's, Mercury Cazimi, Sun conjunct Mercury in Cancer. Ground down into your physical body. We don't have much Earth in the cosmos outside of, at this moment, the moon, Jupiter, Pluto, and North Node, which again, that sounds like a lot, but those are all outer planets, and moon changes every 2 to 3 days, and North Node's not even a planet. So again, we don't have that much Earth, so ground down into your physical body. You just want clarity. You just want to be sure, and I would say attune to the future version of yourself. That's going to be important with the Capricorn full moon, especially just on Sunday. It's sextiling Saturn. So it can be helpful, because sometimes when you're deeply emotional around, this person means so much to me, but we just see the future differently. Okay, like sometimes you have to be pragmatic like that. You have to kind of step out of your emotions to be like, I love this era, but we just see the future differently. Or outside of that, maybe it's having that moment around, I'm so bored with everything. I want to sell all my clothes and cut my bangs. But the future version of me, that's not a very pragmatic decision financially. Like again, think of future you. That's going to be a theme of the Capricorn full moon, which the video on will be posted this Friday. Sorry, I'm kind of behind with my uploads. When in doubt, think of the future version of you, right? Like you might be feeling like, a young person and be like, can I go against these landlords? But what would the future version of you do? And how can this actually be sharpening the future version of you? Learning how to defend yourself from predatory landlords who want to take advantage of you. How is that setting up future you or tomorrow you? Learning the lessons of what's coming up within your business, within your love life, within your health, what have you. Like emotions are not a bad thing. We're all emotional, but it is important to take a step back every so often, okay? Because emotions can fog our judgment, right? It can make us stay in situations that aren't so great for us. It can make us not take action when we need to, if we're, scared about defending ourselves against landlords or anything of that nature. It can make us react too soon, and then we're not able to logically build our pathway forward. This is an important week to, yes, feel what it is that you feel, but strategize your pathway forward because of what you feel. This came to the surface, so I need to be able to create this pathway forward in order to build the future that I want, to get the resolution that I want. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I am strategic. This week requires strategy. Okay, with this Uranus energy, there's something about this week where you're going to want to jump out of your own skin. You're going to just want something new. But whenever I see Uranus energy, like in a client's transits, I'm like, okay, you're gonna want change. And the thing about Uranus transits is you want change so much that you almost just want to leap out of your skin. Like all of a sudden, everything just feels wrong. But it's not that everything is wrong. Like when you have Uranus transits, you don't have a lot of clarity over what changes would genuinely create the most happiness, joy, vitality, whatever it is that you want to feel. So when there are Uranus transits, notice what you're craving, what you want to change, observe it as data, but it's not necessarily the time to move and break up and marry and like all of these things, because again, it's external fixes to an internal problem. Oftentimes when it comes to Uranus aspects, it typically shows up when there is a misalignment around what our life is now and like who it is that we are now. Like we could be living a life that belongs to a prior version of us, like, right? We've evolved. We're not exactly where we're going. We're not where we've been. We don't totally resonate with what our life looks like now. And that misalignment is actually a very exciting place to be in because it means that you are evolving, right? But it could be uncomfy because you're just like, oh, get it all off. Like these clothes, this life, like it just doesn't feel right. It just feels wrong. Like you are growing, my love, and it's an exciting place to be. But again, with this energy of Uranus, Uranus is where it is that we are authentic. It's our own individual person. So I would deeply contemplate, if you're resonating with this idea of restlessness and you're feeling that brew within, what aspects of your life do you feel like you are not safe or able to be your most authentic, embodied self? Where in your life do you feel like you have to put on a show or fake it till you make it or keep the peace or what have you? Because oftentimes I've found, whether it's personal Uranus transits or all of us navigating Uranus aspects, that's where this restlessness is stemming from, is that you have built a life that does not afford you the ability to be wholly yourself. That's why you fantasize about running away and just doing my own thing, because that's where you feel like you would be able to be yourself. But I'll let you know, sometimes you're able to embrace that rebellion that you're feeling, that restlessness that you're feeling within this particular iteration in the right way, right? It's not just like burning all your clothes and realizing, oh, I was just actually misdirecting my frustration around not creating the art that I want, right? Like sometimes it's misdirecting where it is that we do not feel able to be our authentic selves. So just some food for thought as we navigate the week. My loves, thank you so much for being here. Just a reminder, you can jump into Magic Monthly by clicking the join button below or the link in the description. You can also download the free chapter from my book, The Care and Keeping of Your Birth Chart and Your Soul, at selfcareastrology.com. Make sure to check out my offerings. We're doing open enrollment all summer long, so the container is available whenever you feel called to jump into it. Our emoji of the week to comment below. This has been so fun. I love doing this. If you could comment below a duck, because I randomly talked about ducks a lot this week. But love you all. I hope that you all have such a beautiful week, and until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.